Hi. I don't even know where to begin with this. Um, Life sucks at times. It really does. And I wish there was a better way to go about this. Um, I've shared a lot recently just about life, liberty, pursuit of happiness in general, and frankly, it sucks. I am struggling in a lot of different ways. I have some amazing people around me that are helping me, but I'm dealing with a lot of shit from when I was way younger. And if you can imagine an F3 tornado just tearing through your emotional stability, that's probably about where I'm at right now. And I don't know even how to broach the subject. It fucking sucks. I mean, that's the end of it, that's the beginning of it, and that's where I'm at right now. I don't even know what to do with this video. Might post it, don't know. If I do, cool. If I don't, I'll try again later. But I just want to be real with you all. Whoever sees this, I don't know. But I want to be real. I'm sick of pretending that I'm not. I'm sick of pretending, period. I've come to the realization that everything I know, I've used against myself in one way or another to either create personal blame, to devalue, to subconsciously remove myself from any equation of happiness. And it stems from the fact that I don't believe that I should be happy. I don't know any other way to say it. And looking back, I know exactly where this stems from. I simply don't know what love is. I know what the books say about it. I know what poetry says. I know what music says. But for me personally, I don't know. And in trying to pursue what should be the given ideal of love, I've I have left myself at the wayside. I had a really, really enlightening time yesterday. It's a really, really good time. It's also a really, really painful time as well. I mean, sometimes you want answers to questions, but you realize you don't want the actual answers. And it's not that you don't want the answers. It's that the answer is something that you now have to do something about. For myself, as much as I want another person in my life, I'm point blank, I don't think I deserve somebody else. I don't think that I should have another person side by side with me. I think in terms of myself as a damned individual to hermitude. I mean, everything I've done has never been for me. I learned when I was a kid that, or I shouldn't say that I learned this as a kid. I just took it to heart as a kid that the only way I was going to find happiness was by helping others. So when somebody needed something, I would figure out how to do what it is that they needed, provide that service or provide whatever it was, and then move forward under the guise that I was respected, that I was endeared, that I was appreciated. And I took those compliments and I took them to heart because, I mean, I didn't know what to do. For lack of a better statement, I just didn't know what to do. And I saw that that was a means to an end. I can write nice, calligraphy and all the fun stuff, courtesy of my dad. Drawing, again, courtesy of my dad. Realizing that, oh, he's got a skill or a talent. And then kind of poking, prodding, encouraging. But in my brain, I saw that as the one way to get attention from that individual. Singing, thanks, Mom. And she saw that and she helped me run with it. And there's a number of things that fall into that category of somebody saw something, and in my need to be appreciated, my need to be needed, because that's really what it evolved into, was a need to be needed. I sacrificed everything that I had for me. I thought love was literally what you found in books. I still struggle with that because love is many things. It's multifaceted is probably the best way to address that. And the one facet that I really, really took to heart was the romantic style that's found in all aspects of literature, music, poetry, so on and so forth, art, because that's all I was really surrounding myself with. And I gave up love of self so that others could feel loved, appreciated. The things that I wanted in my life, I was freely giving away. I was creating those moments for other people instead of trusting, respecting, engaging with myself outside of just, hard thoughts that I endeavored towards because my parents taught me how to do research at a young age. And with that comes the bittersweet moment of realizing that at the end of the day, you have nothing, and internally you are nothing. This is a thought that kind of overtook me in high school. My parents separated when I was 13, and the idea of romantic love, I threw that out the window. I still held on to it because that's what I knew I wanted, but I also knew that it had to be a lie, that it didn't matter, that there was no way in hell a single person in all of existence could ever love me. Because here's these two wonderful people who've been through hell together, who have fought against the odds, had 6 kids, and still broke apart. I'm going to lay it out for the world. My dad was an alcoholic. My mom struggled with depression, anxiety, PTSD. I mean, a whole slew of issues on both sides of the aisle, and a lack of communication across the board. And until recently, I never really saw that right there. They were really good about kind of keeping it under wraps and pretending it was all okay, which, I mean, that led to a whole shitload of other problems for myself. But you live based on the examples that you have. So I kind of said fuck all to romantic love, though that's really all I've ever wanted. And I delved deeper and deeper into hating who I was, who I am. I mean, if they couldn't love each other, there was no way that they could love me. And if they couldn't love me, if they brought me into this world and could not love me, then how and why should I love myself? It's some really, really involved fuckery in all aspects of these thoughts. And at the end of it all, I subconsciously came to the conclusion that clearly I'm not meant to be loved, even by me. And I started to hate myself so intently. I attempted suicide on 3 separate occasions. One by knife, one by trying to drink myself to death, and the other by prescriptions. I tried, and I kept it all secret. I kept every bit of it secret. I mean, I started drinking when I was 14. I kept it secret. I kept my hatred of myself under wraps. And along the way, I struggle with this because the one thing that I've ever wanted in my life was somebody else to just want me. And time after time after time, it was always a statement of, you're sweet, you're such a good man, you're this, you're that, you're all these things, but it's like, cool, but what? But I'm not interested. I see you as a brother. I mean, these are, I wish I could say that these are just generic responses, but they're the most common statements I've ever received. I was never wanted until I turned 16. And there's some really fucked up shit with that. It was a gentleman who used and exploited that aspect of me, that wanting to be wanted. And he attempted some things with me that were not okay in any regard, in any capacity, at any age, with anyone who was not consenting and or willing to do whatever it is. And I remember being so stunned in the moment and then going home and pretending nothing happened. I'm 16. I, for lack of a better phrase, just been molested. And there was nobody I could talk to. Not a human being. And my drinking got worse. Thought about recreational drug use, but was so terrified of really, really destroying myself, which I guess shows that deep down I did, to some extent, respect me. Or at least I had an inkling of my self-worth, though I could never tell you what it was. I mean, I still struggle with expressing that. And the next year, I had my first real girlfriend. She was the princess of the Renaissance Festival, and I almost fucked that up as well. I ended up in a relationship with her and one of her best friends, and neither of them was aware. So, yeah, big Pimpin' Tony really, really fucked up. And I remember getting a call middle of that summer, and they had chatted, they'd figured it out on their end, and I'm over here just like, yeah, I have a girlfriend, woo. But when the slap in the face came, I wasn't ready for it. And it eventually led me to making a decision, one over the other, which I'm grateful for. They gave me an opportunity to experience what life would be like with both of them. And I'm so grateful that not only they gave me that chance, but they didn't try to destroy me, because had because I had fucked up. There's no other way to say it. I had done something that I wouldn't, up to that point, I never thought I'd ever do. I never thought that I would ever put myself in a position where I would be playing with the heartstrings of another person. And they corrected me really, really quickly, to my benefit, to my blessing. And fast forward, she was the first real girlfriend that I'd ever had, and the world was okay. It was amazing. It was beautiful. She was beautiful, is beautiful. She's gorgeous. She's getting ready to be married now, which is so awesome. We broke up when I left for the Army. I mean, at the time, I still had shit I needed to resolve, but she was a soon-to-be senior in high school. I just graduated, and I didn't know where the hell I was going to be in 5 months, 6 months, a year from then. And I didn't want her to receive a letter saying, "We regret to inform you." I didn't want a chaplain knocking on her door saying, "Hey, you know that boy you love? He's gone, and he's never coming back." I also didn't want that for my family, but it was a very real, distinct possibility, and somewhat what led me to cutting ties communication-wise with those around me. Fast forward to my deployment to Iraq. That's when I really, really started to say fuck all. There's no reason for any of this. There's no purpose to life. There can't be. I mean, there's people dying here that have no rhyme or reason to their passing. I mean, men and women, across the whole spectrum of beliefs and just life, livability, and so many factors that would never go home. I got close to some of them, some I didn't, some I only barely knew the name of because I was on the funeral detail. My unit lost so many people in that deployment, and it fucking broke me. It tore me apart. On my birthday, I turned 19, and just prior to this, if not the day of, I don't really remember the dates for this, there was a rocket attack and there was one casualty, and that's because where she lived was the point of impact. She had just gotten off shift. She had kids. She was married. Life was going great. And here I am, just in the military, in my first interaction with life on the outside. I had already become an adulterer. I had already slept with a man's wife, and I had done so willingly. I wanted to be wanted so bad that I let a woman's loneliness persuade me. I let my own loneliness persuade me. I made shitty choices for the longest time. I kept drinking. I drank harder. And when I came home from Iraq, I didn't care. And when I say I didn't care, I mean I just didn't give a fuck. At this time, I've spent a large part of my life trying to understand who I am. Just something that just has always stuck with me as a kid, and from being a kid, from my childhood. And I started to get myself in a position where I could make better choices for myself. And I ended up with kind of a girlfriend. I don't really know exactly how to classify it. But but we spent so much time together, and it was amazing because here's this person that, again, wanted me for me, at least what they saw me as at that time. Hell, I didn't even know what I was, who I was, hell, why I was. I only knew I was in Alaska because that's where I was stationed. I only knew I was in the unit I was in because that's where the Army wanted me, where the Army needed me. Kind of make it a lot easier to be in a place when you know you're needed. And I ended up being with an artillery battalion. Their main purpose in existing was to shoot the big guns, to kill the bad guys, and to destroy the things that needed to be destroyed from a distance. I was the intel guy. I gave them information to make their job easier. And when they did their job, it made my job easier because it was less to brief, in theory. But I ended up going to all sorts of different classes, just random trainings. Everything from evidence collection to tactical questioning, and the list literally goes on just for the random things that I was kind of just tossed to. Combatives. When I healed up from my broken bone, I went to airborne school. After airborne school, I did ground intelligence for a while, training, that is. And I went through all of these things only to become more and more terrified of who and what I was becoming. I ended up going through some training that I could never legally use as a soldier. I was an all-source analyst, and the training I went through was for interrogators. Couldn't do it legally. And I kind of wince at that because there were several instances where, I'm not going to say I used the training, but came damn close, and that scared the shit out of me. Fast forward, I get out of the military. This is 2010. Had just gotten home from Afghanistan. An amazing year of being deployed. Saw some shit, did some shit, saw more shit. The stuff that kind of just sticks with you forever. And there's really nobody to talk to about it. At least at the time, I didn't think that there was. And except for the soldiers that I had been deployed with, the guys and gals that made the deployment really, really worth it. I had some amazing comrades. Battle brothers and battle sisters that made each day not only worth getting up for, but also worth enduring, because we were in the shit. We saw shit, we did shit, we got things done, and then we came home, or at least many of us came home. We had less casualties that year than we did my first deployment, which was both a blessing and a curse in my eyes, because I still didn't believe that I should be coming home from either deployment. I'm not going to say that I wanted to die, but I knew that there were people who had passed on that were worthier than me for living. And try as I might, it's something I still struggle with, just because I know what I've done, I know where I've been, I know who I've screwed over, and I know that I've, again, made shitty choices from year 14 of life to today. And that was the one sacrifice I could never make, was to lose myself in the service of others, literally losing myself. I ended up serving an LDS mission. I got my mission call about 6 months after I was done with the active side of the military. I had transferred over to the Alaska National Guard and just kind of winged it. And for better or for worse, I ended up as a LDS missionary, put in for it. And just prior to this, I should caveat that I'd had my second real girlfriend. I mean, I've had quasi, like, I don't know what the hell we are, and this was official number 2. And I didn't know what the hell was even going on. As much as I wanted to be with her, there was nothing really there. And looking back, I don't know why she even said yes. Like, anyways, that was painful. And I thought I wanted to serve a mission just to prove to her that I could be a faithful, God-fearing man. And when I got to the mission, I was very much emotionally, spiritually, and I don't know, just kind of collectively sucker punched. Here I was in the service of my fellow men. I literally jumped from one type of mission to another. I had gone from collecting intel and processing it, briefing commanders, so on and so forth. I mean, all the fun intel-related things, to sharing information about Jesus Christ and helping others to make that decision for baptism for themselves, which was a headache in and of itself, because my companions, in many cases, not all of them, because I had some amazing mission companions who saw things the way that I did. But there were a few who I struggled with day in, day out, and it's because our ideologies and how to go about the work were so conflicting. They were so antagonistic of each other. Because I firmly believe somebody should be given the opportunity to make a choice, and that no matter what choice they make, they are still people. They are human beings. They are our brothers and sisters no matter what. And we can get mad, we can be angry, we can be sad, we can be sorrowful. I mean, we can be the full spectrum of human emotion, but at the end of it, it's still their choice to make. And there were instances where I saw, my fellow missionaries doing things that I was not ethically okay with. Just my personal ethics. I'm not going to say that they crossed lines and boundaries that they shouldn't have, but for me, I never would have crossed those boundaries. I never would have done what they had done. I never would have pursued the ideologies. I never would have pursued how they went about the work that they did. And we butted heads so often. I remember getting into it verbally and on one occasion physically with missionaries because of how things were going. And it really was twofold. Like, I am fresh out of the military. The only thing that I really know is discipline, law, order. What is said happens. The way things are written is the way that you follow, and if you follow X, Y, like, the outcome is determined from how well prepared you are for the situation. I still, operation orders and objectives versus their ideology of numbers. I fucking hate numbers. Just so anybody that ever wanted to know, I hate numbers, and the reason is that each number represents a human being. They don't need to be represented by a number, though. They have a name, they have a story, they have a background, they have these things that make them unique. And where I struggled with this ongoing missionary ideology was when missionaries would treat, Jane Doe as a number, when in reality, we should have been treating her the same way that God and Jesus would have been treating her, with dignity, respect, and as Jane Doe, a daughter of God, or John Doe, a son of God, so on and so forth. I mean, every instance where I butted heads was specifically related to this sales approach, to being a missionary, and that didn't sit well with me in any regard. I mean, the few instances where I really, really know I made a difference in the lives of those around me was when the person knew that I knew that they were a person. And when I treated them as a son or daughter of God, I was able to more readily humble myself and understand the language, the personal language that they were speaking. I was called to Utah. Just so you all know, I was called to the Ogden, Utah mission. And when I got my mission call, I had no idea where the hell it was. I remember seeing this photo copied map that was so blurred out. Well, I shouldn't say blurred, so light that you could barely make out like any of the actual regional or topographical features. I had no idea where this was. And everybody that found out that I was going to the Ogden mission was like, oh my gosh, you're going there? And that's like one of the highest baptizing missions, this, that, and the other. And they were selling it. And I'm just like, I just don't know where this is. Cool. I mean, high five, yay, you know, but I don't. And I remember when I first met my first mission president, he had served in the Navy during Vietnam, prosecuting individuals for trying to ditch the draft. I mean, those individuals that were caught, like his specific job was to prosecute them, get them in one direction, you know, literally prison or training. And I remember him expressing to me that it was going to be rough, that it was going to be hard, and that it would take a level of maturity on my part to be able to accept that the individuals in my leadership would be younger than me, which I was in the Army for 4 years. I saw privates become specialists, specialists become sergeants, and sergeants become staff sergeants, so on and so forth, or even jump to the dark side. I mean, sergeants becoming officers and so on that were younger than me. And that never really fazed me because there was a structure there that we could all rely on, that we were all indoctrinated to. And there's no other way to say it. We were indoctrinated to this chain of command. And no matter how much I didn't like the person, I still did what they told me to do as long as it would, was within the lawful bounds of their authority. On a mission, it's a hell of a lot different because somebody may not like you and then they will shit all over you because they don't like you. It became this grab-ass high school bullshit almost from day one. And I've never told anybody about this because it's just kind of assumed that anybody that served a mission kind of knows what the hell I'm talking about without even saying it. And I struggled time and time and time again because I knew why I was there. I'm going to assume that they knew why they were there, but we could never mesh those things. We literally were water and oil for some people. And then there were others, and the most productive times I'd ever had were with those missionaries who really, really took to heart what it meant to be a missionary in reaching out to every person, every step of the way, and letting them make the decisions for themselves instead of trying to persuade them. Like, our job as missionaries was never to persuade people. It was to inform and to help them understand that there's a loving Heavenly Father that wants them to be happy, and that we as missionaries had teachings that would lead them, should they choose, towards happiness. The caveat being that you put the work in and the effort would then be rewarded. That all blessings have a law that governs them. I mean, the sun rises every day because of natural law. Even when the clouds are up, the sun's out. It's just how things work. And that if you serve your fellow man, you'll find joy in the service if you let yourself. And again, this is a very long-winded, kind of scenario in terms of that. But that's what I went in knowing, that's what I went in thinking. And I struggled so much with the culture that has evolved over the years here in Utah. I spent more time beating my head against brick walls because of members who thought one particular way or another instead of just loving and respecting people. And I had people approach me and tell me, you can't drink caffeine, this, that, and the other. And I got like a Coca-Cola in my hand. I'm like, okay, please tell me what law I'm breaking, because I'm certain that I literally just saw you drinking like a Diet Dr. Pepper, and that's got caffeine. And I'm not going to give two shits what you think about me doing what I'm doing right now, because I'm not hurting anyone, and you can fuck off. Like, those were my thoughts. Or the mindset of forced blessings. I remember being in a restaurant getting ready to pay for my food, and this person cuts in front of me in line and just dead eyes me, and it's just like, I got this. I'm like, okay, dude, I literally get paid every month by the VA because I broke myself in the Army. The Army broke me, but, you know, c'est la vie. And they looked at me again like, no, elder, I've got this, and I need you to know that I've got this. And I'm just like, why is this person so antagonistic? Like, I just want to pay for my food, get it, and go. Like, I just want to go sit down, eat, and then get back to the work that we had. And this person kept raising their voice, and they're just like, would you deny me the blessings? I didn't know what the fuck to say to that. I am brand new. This was day 2 as a missionary, and I'm just like, what the fuck is wrong with people? And I remember asking my companion about that after the fact, and he just kind of like nonchalantly like shrugged it off. And I'm like, no, I would really like an answer, because that's not okay, and that's sure as shit not how blessings occur. You don't command blessings. You don't force somebody to do something just so you can be blessed. You give them an opportunity, and if what you're trying to do is serve another person, you don't force it. And I remember he kind of still just shrugged his shoulders and was like, this is Utah, you know, just accept it. And I bit my tongue, because that was complete and utter bullshit. I could not wrap my head around doing something purely because there's a blessing attached to it. And I say it like that because I can't imagine forcing myself to do something that would force another person to permit me to have a blessing. Like, it hurts my brain, it hurts my heart, and it hurts my soul to think that there are people who think that that kind of actions, those kind of actions are okay, that they're permissible. And I remember that it sickened me so much that I threw the food away. I did not feel okay with what had happened. And I remember my companion kind of looking at me like, well, okay, whatever, that's a waste, but c'est la vie, we'll have dinner in a few hours, so we're gonna be good. And that mentality, though, of the members was something that appalled me. And some members were amazing. They understood what we were there for. They did what they could to help out. They high-fived. They tagged us in when it was appropriate. They did the right thing. And again, though, there were still other members who were so hell-bent on doing it their way, doing it in such a way that I don't even know. It made no sense. And it is this toxic culture of, if you're not a Peter Priesthood or a Molly Mormon, or you're not striving to be the bishop, or if you're not striving to be the stake president or the next president of the church, you have no value, which is ridiculous, because if everything is done under the direction of heaven, then it really is not going to matter that you're striving to be bishop. It's not going to matter that you're striving to fulfill and be in each of these different positions of authority. If you live right, the outcome should be the same no matter what, as long as you're doing your part, living in accordance with the gospel. And that's just something I still can't wrap my head around. Bit tangential, but came home from my mission honorably. I completed the 2 years of service. I ended up finishing my mission in Salt Lake City after a mission transfer, which was kind of cool. I personally needed that because I had gained a reputation in the Ogden mission as a rough individual. Kind of a tough as nails, but just more of an ass than anything else, because I would do things the way that I thought things needed to be done. Sometimes that didn't go over well with people, and it started to become so toxic that I just didn't want to be there anymore. And I remember approaching my mission president saying, I either need to be sent home or I need to be sent to a new mission, because I'm not okay with how I'm being treated by the other missionaries. I have had my fair share of bullshit from the Army, and if we're all here to serve God, if we're all here to serve our fellow men, and if we're here to teach the restored gospel of Jesus Christ, then we need to do that and not be so judgmental of each other and the experiences that we've had. I don't need to feel alienated. I don't need to feel like a pariah. I don't need to feel like I don't exist or that I have no reason to be here if I'm here to teach. I mean, why the fuck am I here if everybody's just gonna hate on me because of how I do things? Anywho, fast forward, ended up in the Salt Lake City mission, which helped so much. Transferred here with 40 other missionaries and had such an amazing time. I mean, my mission did a 180. I was going into depression and fucking hating every day, and went from that mentality, just that desire to say fuck all, I'm ready to go home, to actually wanting to be here, to actually wanting to get out and teach and connect with people on a human level again. Went back up to Alaska, found out from the National Guard that they had misplaced my paperwork, so go military, and I was unable to re-enlist, which also meant that I could file my VA paperwork and not have any issues pay-wise or anything like that. So I did with the VA, and it turns out that, yay, I got asthma. I can't go into any military service ever again until I guess we figure out a cure for asthma, and I can rewind the clock and go back in time. But without both of those, I could never serve as a soldier. I could never go back in active National Guard or even reserves. So that sucked, because now I was restricted in terms of what the hell am I going to do with my life moving forward. So I went back to work as a security guard at the Anchorage Museum. The only person that has ever been hired back, not once, but twice. 2 separate occasions, because I ended up applying for college. I had completed my freshman year at EAC, my senior year of high school, so 2005, 2006 timeframe, in the science program there, or fire science program that they had. So I became a certified firefighter, had done all the training, ended up with a certificate because I reached out years later to figure out like how the hell to finish that, and it turns out that Yeah, some long-winded explanation, like I wouldn't be able to. So I got a certificate. I have a technical college degree. But I ended up going to LDS Business College after applying to BYU and being told, hey, you're a permanent transfer student. There's no room in the inn because there's just no space. Like, we can't accept you. Which fucking sucked. Because that was my plan. Finish the mission, go to BYU, get my degree, and so on and so forth. You know, apparently find a wife in that time and just move on with my life, go wherever. But they told me no, which I'm thankful for, because I literally didn't want to go. I mean, if the culture that I'd seen in Utah up to that point was exactly what I'd be going back to in terms of the LDS church, I don't think I would have survived. I think I would have screwed things up royally, and I would be in a worse position than where I am today. So, blessings in disguise. Ended up at LDS Business College because, lo, it was in my last area as a missionary, and I remember, oh yeah, there's this one college, and they have an interior design program. Again, art is the direction of my life, and it evolved to a split degree, split associates, that is, social media marketing and interior design. And I further realized that I was more willing to sacrifice my well-being for others purely to be needed. Everything I've done since I was about 7 has been for other people. And that's not without its merits. That's not without its value. Because I've done some amazing things. I have been to some amazing places, and I have come to meet some of the greatest people in life. People that really heartfelt mattered to me. But I've done so at the cost of my own self, and that's not okay. Self-love has been pretty much non-existent. And I started realizing that that key was missing when I joined an organization called the Brain Stretch. And the primary goal of the Brain Stretch was to help share enlightenment, to help empower men and women across the globe to live happier, live healthier, and live more productive lives through loving those around you, through loving yourself, through some very basic tenets that push you to be the best that you can for those around you. And that's when I started to realize that there's a shit ton wrong with me. And the primary issue that I'd have is that I hated myself for no reason. I mean, I've done things wrong in my life, but I actively hated myself. I didn't see any value. I struggled to see that value that other people see. I mean, there are things that people point out that I'm just like, that's not there. That no. You're making shit up. That is not real. Only to then realize that it is. I have fallen in love with the idea that I'm a tragic character that has no redemptive qualities about himself, and thus is not worth even my own love, let alone the love of others. But the greatest thing I could give those around me was the love that they needed. Which sucks. Because I was so ready, so willing, so able to tell other people that they were loved, to love them, and to almost love them unconditionally, regardless of what the fuck they were doing to me, to those around me, unless it was like so immediately detrimental to somebody else that I loved, that I was endeared to, that I was enamored by, that I was caught up with. It took a lot for me to cut those people out, because deep down I knew that all they needed was love, even if they were a shitty person. And it took me too long to come to the conclusion that I have been missing out on so many amazing things because I don't believe that I deserve them. There are people in my life that have wanted to be with me in a lot of different regards that I never gave the time to because I didn't believe that I deserved them. That they deserve someone better, that they deserve something better, that there's no way in hell that this person was worth anything that they could give me because there's no value here. And it sucks that that's been my mindset for so long. Literal years of my life have been wasted under this ideology that I don't fucking matter. That I can do all these things, that I can remain neutral in all aspects of life, that I can be a servant, and that I am a servant. That I am best left to keeping my head down, keeping my mouth closed, and just doing what I'm told. It fucking sucks. Because, I mean, until I can love myself, and it's less love until I can respect myself enough to love myself. There's no way in hell I'm ever going to be happy. I can have moments. Everybody has moments, but I can never find that true happiness. I can never find someone that I wouldn't just sacrifice myself, giving them everything. That I could never find another person to love. And that's a shitty realization. And the one thing that I want is just to be wanted. I have a long way to go. And I don't know how long I have to get there, but please understand that this video, essay, whatever the hell you want to call it, is not a cry for help. It's me just acknowledging that I've spent too much time falling short and forsaking myself because of my own fucked up personal value or belief in my personal value. and that I have wronged so many people because I couldn't see it at the time, but they were trying to help me. I have hurt so many people because at the time I couldn't believe, even in the slightest, that I was worth what they were trying to give. This goes out to friends I've had for years. This goes out to new friends. This goes out to people I've never met, that I've only ever kept at arm's length. And I've done that for so long that I just don't know what to do anymore. Again, this is not a cry for help. This is just me acknowledging, actually acknowledging, and making it known that I know I fucked up hardcore and that I am sorry for wanting to destroy myself instead of letting you love me. And that it's not okay. And this is me acknowledging that it's not okay. This is me acknowledging to the world that who I've been these past 15, 20 years hasn't been fair to anyone, especially those who have loved me along the way, who have tried their damnedest to get me to see that not only do I have value, but I'm worth so much more than I give myself credit for, that I'm worthy of so much more simply because, just because. I used to think that everything had to be earned. There's a lot of gifts that I've turned down because I didn't think I'd earned it. There's a lot of people that have reached out and tried to share their love, their lives, their everything. And I've spat in their face because there was no way that I was worthy or worth what they were trying to give me. And for that, I'm sorry. And we just celebrated Easter yesterday, and it was a very enlightening time for me. It was also a very hard time for me, because after the day's activities, the only thing I wanted to do was lament my existence. Because at the core of it all, I have been challenging this concept that I'm not worth what people are putting towards me. I'm not worth the friendships that others have been investing in. I'm not worth the love that others have been sharing with me. Deep down, I want to believe that so much. And then there's another voice that is telling me to shut up, to just take a step back and really look at what I'm doing to those around me. All because of my pride. So that's what it boils down to. The reason I've been telling everybody more or less to fuck off is because of my own personal pride. Because I have no reason to be where I'm at, in the position that I'm at. I mean, I recently took off my garments, and that has been a long time coming, and it's because I'm not living worthy of the covenants that those represent. I'm not living within the confines of the promises I made in the temple. And I'm finally done fighting myself to justify, you know, pretending to live one way, but in reality, it's completely against everything that I've held to and believed in for the longest time. I've been a shitty human being for a long time. Not to other people, but to myself. I've been the shittiest human being to myself. And that's not okay. Because by treating myself with such disrespect, in such an undignified manner, and in such horrific ways, I am just telling everybody that your love is not valued. Your opinion of me, your thoughts, the gifts you give, what you bring to the table, and what and who you think I am doesn't matter, because I don't care. And I'm sorry, because there's a lot of people out there that have believed in me for years, who have made it possible for me to be where I'm at today. I received a scholarship to go to college my senior year of high school that I shouldn't have qualified for. I had my senior year paid for by somebody that I may or may not know. I don't know. I've had so many opportunities freely given, no expectation of return, that I should never have had. I mean, everything from the American Legion's Boy State program to high school, period. I mean, I was placed in CPS custody, but still allowed to see my family. That's a rare occurrence. And all through it, I was even permitted to live with my mom again, and then move out on my own, and then live with my mom again, and then finally move in with an aunt so that I could finish school. I mean, I've had countless opportunities that I shouldn't have. All because somebody saw something and they acted on it, and they tried to do something right. And the whole time, I not only took it all for granted, I shit all over it because I didn't fucking care. And for that, I am sorry. For that, I am forever indebted to you. And it's not okay that I have spent my life trying to destroy myself. I mean, hell, there's plenty of people out there in the world that'll do it for free, but I have spent my entire life not giving a fuck. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I have lied to you all. I am sorry that I have kept you all at arm's length, and that I have used every trick in the book that I knew how to try and hurt myself. And in turn, I've hurt you in ways unimaginable. And that's, again, not okay. I'm learning to live. It sucks. It's rough, it's hard. And I'm learning to love, which also sucks. It's hard. I'm learning to love myself, which sucks. And it's fucking hard. But thankfully, I have people in my life that, well, I know they've got my back. I know that they're there for me and that they love me and that they will be there for me through thick and thin and thinner and thinnest. They will be there through the hard times, through the hardest times. And I know they will beat the living shit out of me in that loving, we care about you, get your shit together, get your act straight kind of way. And I'm grateful because without them, I don't think I would be where I'm at right now. I don't think that I would even be trying to, to live again. I don't think I'd be trying to love myself. I don't think I'd be trying to get myself in a position to really, truly live. Not just clean up my act and go through the motions, but really, truly live and really, truly love. The most painful compliment I have ever received was yesterday. And it was on the heels of getting some answers to a question or a few questions that I've wanted for a minute, but I was not ready for. I'll be honest, nope. And this gal, this lovely soul, this person I've had a crush on for some time, and she laid it out to me that she's not looking for a relationship with me at all, which sucks. She's fucking amazing. But that I have everything going for me. And that and I'm going to paraphrase this part because it kind of makes more sense to me when I say it my way, that I need to stop being a bitch. Stop playing small and maximize what I have. I love her. She's amazing. And she's one of the greatest friends I will have till the day I die, which I am so grateful for, that I can count her amongst the most amazing people I know. And she's right. I have so much going for me. So much in my corner. So many amazing people and so many things that are just being wasted because I want to feel sorry for myself. Because I want to play small. Because I want to pretend I don't exist and that I have no value and that I don't matter. When in reality, I do matter. I have value and I am worth love. I am especially worth self-love. And, I may never have a chance with her, and as much as that sucks, it'll be okay, because I know I have her as a friend, and that's worth more than anything in the world, because she believes in me. She sees so much about me that I I just don't want to acknowledge, that I don't know how to acknowledge. And she's willing to fight with me, fight for me, to fight me every step of the way. Because she wants to see me succeed. She wants to see me happy. And I'm with her on that. I want to see myself happy. So, here's to new beginnings. I mean, here's to fixing my shit, because I've let myself and those around me down, because I've hated myself for too goddamn long. So if you see this, I mean, it's a long ass video. To which I say, I'm moderately sorry, but it needed to be said. And these are things that I've dwelt with for years, that I'm trying now to come to terms with. But like I said, if you see this video, I don't want pity. I don't want you to say that you're sorry for the things I've gone through. I don't want to hear any of that. I'm not going to say that I don't want a response, because I do. I want to hear your guys' thoughts. I want to hear how you guys have been able to overcome these things in your life, how you love yourself. I want to hear the good. I want to hear the bad. I want to know that it's going to be okay for me because it's okay for you. I also want to know how I can help you. It's rough. It's hard. It sucks. I'm breaking years of bad, terrible fucking habits. This is a hard reset. And frankly, it's about time. Because I don't know what I've got tomorrow, if anything. I don't even know if I'm going to be alive tomorrow. Life fucking happens. And it's about damn time that I start living my life for me and putting to use all this very shitty fertilizer I've got. Because frankly, I can't be the best for you. I can't be the best for the world. And I sure as hell can't love you the way that you deserve if I can't love myself the way I deserve. Sometimes you have to live by example. Sorry. I guess this is me signing off. I don't know what else to say outside of I'm open, I'm listening, I'm trying to be a better person. And it fucking sucks. It's tiring making these changes. But I know in the end that it's going to be worth it. And I know in the end that I'm worth it. So, here's to a new life. Here's to not hating myself anymore. Here's to honoring you all and loving you all by honoring and loving myself. Not in the self-destructive way. And here's to not holding you all at arm's length anymore. I want you to be part of my life. I want you to be there. I want to experience these things with you. And I want to learn and grow and become and just, I want to be happy for me. So here's to growing up. And here's to love. Because without love, what is there truly left to live for? And I leave that question with you. Peace.